That's recording.
Yeah, that's it. G'day guys, this is the next video in the squat series. Sorry for the delay. We had a slight disruption called COVID half ending and gym's reopening, but we're back. So what I do today, I'm going to show you a quick mobility drill if you found you had any mobility restrictions in the last video. So we'll start with the feet. So we'll look at the feet. The first thing to note was we wanted to hold the active arch. To do that and to have the muscles to do that, you need good intrinsic foot muscles. So you've got to be able to keep your toes down and big toe up, and big toe, little toe down. If you can't do that, start practicing. The second is you want to be able to splay your toes and grip the floor. Not curl your toes, splay and grip with big toe hard down. If you can't do that, start practicing that. And the third one is you've got to make sure your big toe's planted and then lift your arch. It's not rolling to the outside of your foot. So you've got to be able to keep big toe down, heel down, little toe, create the arch. So that's where it starts. If you can't do any of them, start practicing. The second one is easy, of course, if you've got limited ankle range. The main thing with this is the connective tissues around the ankle and Achilles and the capsule are really, really strong. So the shorter muscular stretches don't really cut it. That's good to warm up with. You know, like the good old band around the post and getting into the sprinter's position and stretching. That's good as a warm-up drill for squats if they're a bit tight, but they're not going to get you over the line for actually getting significantly more mobile ankles. So we'll come this way. At home, you get anything really, like a square piece of wood, not round. Jam it into the door so it's like a wedge and stand on it. And you basically stand there, and ideally you choose your favourite half an hour show, stand there watching telly, and in the ads walk around. If it's Netflix, you know, just do about 20 minutes. But if you're not feeling the stretch, just simply chop it up more so it's higher. But it needs that really long 15 to 20 minute stretch to actually make a difference to the fascia and all the components needed to get more dorsiflexion. So that's what you do for stiff ankles. And in your warm up for the squats, do the, you know, the quick stretches. But that's what makes the difference in the long run. And the next one, as we said, knees are easy. If your knees don't fully extend or bend, go see a physio because something's wrong. But if you're tight in the ITB, this is a super common one. Come this way. Oh, the strong woman in the background. Of course, get the foam roller. Get onto your side and go from the bony part of your hip down to the knee. And if you feel a tight bit, just torture yourself. You know, and if they are truly tight, it's the same. These are not warm-up drills to be done just briefly before you squat. This is to be done at a separate time daily until you've got the appropriate range like we went through in the previous video. So you'd want to do that at least 5 minutes a day, every day, until you can do the side lying test and your leg drops down. The next is hip flexor. So if you're tight in your hip flexors as per the test, this one for lifting, it's a little bit different as to just a normal person. You need a bit more force. So for this, I'll show this later. Put it around, stick it right up under your bum, walk it out as far as you can, sit back. Now this is the important part, a lot of people do this. We don't want that. That's not targeting the part of the hip flexor that we want. You have to draw your belly in, squeeze your butt hard as you can, then shift forward until you feel it at the front. And for this, again, this is to be done away from training. If you have the mobility issue, you should do about 3 lots of 1 minute both sides, if your hip flexors are tight. The next is if the hip external rotation was bad, so you can't get into the hole. When you tested it, it was all jacked up and tight. We like squat specific, so this is a two-part stretch. The first one is going to push that rear leg as far back as you can. Put your hand in line with your heel. Bring this into nearly your squat position. So you can see the angles are very similar. Then you come forward and you literally drive, keep that big toe down, do the active foot still, don't let it do that. And you push out, and then you're trying to scour into the back quadrant. So I'm literally trying to sit like I'm sitting into the squat, trying to sit that way till you feel it stretch. Oh, that's a bit tough. And you scour and do about 2 minutes per side. And then, you know, specificity being king, none of this has to be rocket science. You literally sit into the squat, knees in, drive out, and just sit and let yourself sink without, don't round back, sink into the squat for 2 minutes. Truth be told, probably if you just did this, you might be stuck up here. But over time, if you just sat in that position, it's gonna sink into the right position. So that's for the hips. The next one is, this one's a little bit more tricky. If the whole upper back, like we tested, that whole thoracic shoulder complex is just all too stiff. Without an assessment, it's hard to tell, so it's best to attack it from all three angles. Because if you're a bit stiff, typically shoulders are a bit forward, so the whole front complex gets tight. Let's call it stiff thoracic extension and poor external rotation under the bar. So I like to make it always simple and combined stretches. The first one is to open up the front of your shoulders. So we'll come this way again. You have to find a corner somewhere, corner of the room, any corner. Put your hands a bit wider than shoulder width, shoulders down and back just like we always do. And then just let the chest sink towards the wall. And you literally hold it for 2 minutes. The first 30 seconds it feels like nothing. The next minute and a half it can feel like your chest is tearing off. But it's just a quick combined one to literally just open. Don't think pecs, it's just everything. Anterior capsules, front deltoid, pec, all the heads of pec. We're just trying to open up the chest to allow our shoulders to sit back. And the second one, let's grab some bits. Is thoracic extension with external rotation at the shoulders. This is a bit of a toughie, but this helps bench press a lot as well, but we're talking squats at the moment, so this is to get into that position under the bar. Now, you want to put it right in between your thoracic. Make sure you keep belly down, you don't want to pop into extension, so sternum down. Extend as far as you can. Then get really light weights and let them slowly drift into external rotation. If you're mobile, it's no problems. You can just go backwards, no problems. But a lot of people will be here, and if you've got a stiff thoracic and external rotation, you're probably going to be stuck about there. But you just let time and gravity extend all the way. And again, this is one you just hold gently for about 2 to 3 minutes. So that's certainly not a complete list, but that's just a quick rundown of if you had any mobility issues in the previous one, you can choose whichever one of those exercises to help fix it. And as always, if it's still persisting and you can't get the mobility, go see a good, sports physio or chiro or anybody like that can look at it in much more depth. And our next video is going to be about technique, and we have a fun battle there between two 5-foot squatters and how different they can be. All right, see you later, guys.